I find that's extraordinary. That is, absolutely extraordinary. I mean,
what's extraordinary, Liam?
Well, I'll tell you what's extraordinary. The one thing that you could hold your hat on and say, well, this is what we do as an industry to make sure that pigs are looked after, to make sure that these places are run well. And you're trying to tell me that you don't know the details of the audit program on that farm.
I'm telling you I do know the details.
And you're you're sitting here trying to pass the buck.
No.
By telling me that form there is just picked up like what? Just some A4 paper off a photocopier. And somebody just puts their name on it, and your industry's logo, your industry's title, on a form.
It's on a form.
On a form. So what? Somebody picked it up from the local primary school, did they?
It's on the form that's blank. It gets filled in. That piggery in Tasmania was not quality assured at the time that footage was filmed. Do you honestly believe that someone walking through that piggery would give it a tick of approval? You've got to be kidding me.
The form's right there. They did.
They didn't.
They did.
That piggery was not quality assured.
That piggery was recommended for quality assurance.
I cannot believe that you would consider that someone walking through, seeing what we saw in that disgusting video, would give that piggery a tick of approval. Do you honestly believe that?
Mr. Spencer, let's not beat around the bush. That piggery was recommended for accreditation by your industry. There's the report. Take it away and have a read. It's good bedtime reading.
Thank you, Liam.
That was given the tip
piggery
by an auditor that you paid. Your industry paid them.
No, we don't pay the auditors.
But you don't pay the auditors?
The pig producer pays the auditor. The auditor is an independent. He is not a part of Australian Pork Limited. They are independent auditors.
And they send you a copy of that report?
They send us a copy of reports from piggeries. They make a recommendation that it passes, it should be quality assured, that it maybe has some corrective actions. Maybe the corrective actions are serious enough that it suspends their quality assurance, or maybe it says it's a disaster.
And that's what that report
says. And they can't be quality assured.
That report gives that farm the thumbs up.
That piggery was not quality assured at the time that that video was taken, at the time that the charges were laid.
Would you...
So there's a hell of a lot of reasons for that, but hell, how could you imagine someone walking through that piggery could do anything but say, this is disgusting?
Well, it's a very good question. Very good question. That's why I'm asking you. Have you
there is no way that anyone
reviewed your
could
audit
do that.
program? Have you
We have looked...
done something to it? I mean, have you
We've looked much harder with Woolworths at their governance around ensuring that their suppliers are quality assured, because this one fell through the gaps. They said they were quality assured, they weren't, and Woolworths didn't get the approval in writing.
And Woolworths are relying on you as an industry to make sure all your farms are quality assured.
Woolworths rely on their suppliers to certify that the supplier is quality assured. They have a certificate and they have the paperwork. They don't come to us to ask us if every one of their suppliers is necessarily quality assured. They have asked for our help to make sure that that happens in future, but ultimately they need to check with their suppliers to make sure that they have the paperwork that proves they're quality assured.
So it was Woolworths' fault?
Liam, that piggery was disgusting. It's not the fault of the industry. It's not the fault of all pig producers. It's not the fault of Woolworths. It's the fault of the person who was in charge of those pigs, and it was disgusting.
So how could it be that this auditor, Annie Mui, how could it be that this auditor then recommends re-accreditation for this farm 3 months before the whistle was blown?
Well, I would assume if she's been through that farm and recommended something like that, it must have looked very, very different to what it looked like on that footage. Do you agree? But how could you possibly consider that a farm with sows in that condition, treated the way they were, could ever be accredited under a quality assurance scheme? And that farm was not.
And that's what I'm asking you. What does that say about your quality assurance scheme?
There is no possible way that that farm could ever be accredited in the state that we saw it on that footage. There is no way. How could you imagine that?
Well, how could this auditor have got it so wrong?
That was 3 months beforehand. A lot can change on a piggery in 3 months.
Woolworths says it's almost impossible for conditions to deteriorate that
Well,
quickly.
it's not impossible at all. But something very bad was happening on that piggery. I have never seen pigs in that state and being left to suffer like that. It was awful. And how I don't understand how someone can think that you could walk through that and sort of turn a blind eye and accredit it under some quality assurance scheme. That's not going to happen.
Well, I don't understand how your accreditation scheme can be so haywire.
It's not haywire. It's a great accreditation scheme. And when the charges were laid on that piggery owner, that property was not quality assured. Pig farmers look after pigs. That is their job. That pig farm was not operating in a way that was in any fashion comparable with pig production as it should happen.
No doubt about that, and that's what they said in the court case. It was quite clear. In fact, there were other things brought up in the court case where the animals were in a bad condition for a lot longer than 3 months. So how does this audit it?
I'm not sure that. Not sure that you can say that.
What do you mean you're not sure?
How do you know that those pigs were in bad condition for 3 months? Those pigs would not have survived 3 months in that condition. There's no way.
What, you don't think they keep going downhill?
No, those pigs were, if not euthanized within the next days, they were going to die in days. Not in weeks, not in months. They were going to die in days. It was disgusting. There's no way that those pigs had been there for 3
So
months.
at the risk of sounding like a broken record, how does the auditor on your Australian pork industry quality program forms manage to give this farm the thumbs up?
Because that was the way she reported it 3 months before the footage was taken that you saw and that I saw, and that's disgusting.
Did she have bad eyesight?
No. The conditions on that farm have significantly changed in 3 months, and that's completely possible, but very unfortunate, because those pigs were suffering terribly, and that's no way to run a pig farm in Australia. That's not how the pig industry works in Australia.
So you disagree with Woolworths? You think it could have gone downhill that fast?
Absolutely. 3 months, in 3 months with poor management, with disregard for what's happening in the piggery, you can do enormous damage and suffering and distress to the pigs. It's very unfortunate.
Given those conditions, do you think an audit over the telephone was appropriate?
I don't believe an audit happened over the telephone, Lehman. I don't know where you're going with that. It's not the way we audit properties. And do you really honestly think that, having seen that footage, that we'd be satisfied with a telephone audit of a piggery in that condition? That's ridiculous.
Well, I'd hope not, but I was thoroughly bamboozled when I was told it happened.
Well, I'm suggesting you go back and check your sources, because there is no way that you're going to get a telephone audit to pass that piggery after what you've seen on the footage.